You thought that I wanted you to die so that way we could be together forever. I want you to suffer the way that you made me suffer.
I won't keep waiting for you to let go of the past.
Nowhere to run now, Petey boy.
How do you fight for your man against a dead woman? It's not a fair fight.
No, don't give up on us, Laura.
Let's get started today. I'm Najir Chambers. I am from Big Gold Belt Media. Howard, thank you for your time today. Congratulations. Your new film, Double Exposure, is going to be available on demand, digital, cable, satellite platforms, DVD. You're getting it all February 18th. How you feeling?
I am feeling anticipatory.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
As a huge physical media guy, I was super excited that that was a prime aspect of your release. Where I'm like, yes, I will absolutely be having one of those, my friend. So
good,
uh,
good.
I'm glad that there's still love for the physical media community out there. But Howard, I checked out the film, man. A lot of questions, and I can't wait to tap your mind about it. First
I have
thing,
the answers.
I'm sure you do as the writer director.
Maybe.
Um, there has already been three films, legacy films, 80s, 70s. I think maybe one even in the 90s, with the same title, Double Exposure. So I want to make sure I set the expectations for folks in establishing that this is not a reboot or remake or sequel of any sorts. This is your golden child here.
Yes.
And although all four of them, and I've only seen two, but I looked up the synopsis of the other ones, and they all do feature some measure of a photographer. They're different stories. I wonder for you, have you seen any of the previous ones?
No.
Okay.
In a word, no.
All right, all right. Yeah, make sure
But we did do a title search. You know, you have to have title insurance. You have to have insurance when you make the film. And they do a title search, and I had to get a lawyer's legal opinion that it was okay for me to use that title because it had been used so many times before in the past, even on TV sequences, that nobody's going to say I'm stealing somebody else's title.
Well, no one has ever said that. Which is interesting because when people do talk about titles, they always talk about trying to get a title that is more alphabet friendly, so that it sort of cues up better because it's a D, so it's going to rank a little higher because of that. But that's
But
the
we're going
most
to change the
official I've ever
title. We're
heard.
changing the title to A Double Exposure.
We getting the real scoops today.
That's right.
This film definitely tackles some themes, and I definitely want to tap your brain about them.
Sure.
Grieving, letting go of the past, guilt. These are heavy things that people experience and deal with day to day. I gotta give a shout out to your cast because I mean, really, without them, a lot of just what as the viewers what we experience through them really doesn't work. When you really set down the table here and you want to get this done and you present this to the cast and you're talking about, yeah, these are the characters you're going to play, but also these are sort of just the vest or the mask that you have to carry the entire time. And grieving is a big one because it looks different in every film. Even with this one, it's so uniquely done. I just want to know what was sort of your conversations with your cast in terms of explaining these are some of the important things that you want to carry throughout the film.
Well, you know, when you work with the cast, they always say the most important aspect of directing is casting.
Yeah.
If you cast it wrong, you can't fix it. And
Yeah.
I cast it right. And I love working with actors. And my process is, first of all, they have to resonate with the script,
Yeah.
which they automatically, that goes without saying, or they wouldn't even be in the film. Then we sit down and we have a table read, and everybody finds their footing, and people bring different things to the film. A different actor would have a completely different take on everything that these different characters go through. So it's a combination of what I wrote and what they took from it and what they turned it into with in collaboration with me. And so it's kind of a circular little system
Yeah.
where we start to communicate with each other and we find what it is. And so in that process, I find things that I never thought of
Mm.
that they thought of. And I go, oh, you know something? That's right. That is what he's thinking. You're absolutely right. And so I don't, I'm not the kind of director who says, okay, walk over here, then you go over here, then you're going to pick that up, and then you're going to look really sad because you're really upset. I like to find it organically.
Yeah.
Let the actor start to embody the character and bring to it things that will surprise them and will surprise me as well. And
Yeah.
especially then, not only that, but when they start working together,
Hmm.
then that's another new formula. It's
Yeah.
another new thing that's going to start happening.
Yeah.
Alchemy.
Yeah, 1,000%. I could literally sit here and talk about each of your leads' individual performances, but the more and more we see them share the screen together, like that dynamic just really energizes those moments, heightens those feelings, and as the viewers, you're still sitting back, anticipation of like what's next or like what's being processed at the moment. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, but one thing we obviously have to talk about with a film being called Double Exposure, with it is following a photographer, Peter, who, at one point was at an all-time artistic high, but, with some events that occur, he kind of loses his way. He gets married. Laura comes along. She tries to support him. But he really has to get through grieving in the way that he has to do it, not so much the way I would say that Laura wants him to do it, thinking it's just an easy turning of the page, which I appreciate that the really the
Yeah.
legitimacy of that there because and authenticity, because anybody's ever been through something know that it's just not that easy. You just don't get over it because somebody tells you to get over it.
That's
Which
right.
is why the dynamic of the three, including Sarah, is so interesting because you're hearing the aspects from every angle of this. So,
Yeah.
um, with double exposure, consciousness plays a character as well too. And when consciousness is involved, the aesthetic of the film feels it as well. I gotta ask you about the collaboration process with your cinematographer, or even if this is done in post, in terms of letting or indicating to the viewers that like this may be one of those subconscious state of moments, especially when you get to that third act where you really are on edge about what events are occurring
Yeah.
and which events are sitting in the subconscious world.
Yeah. 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 Um, well, the cinematographer was fantastic. He's a great guy. We were on the same page totally, and all of the shots that we devised together, we it worked well. And then in post production, we did more. I did more with the editor, and we changed some things. But we always knew that those things were going to be changed, but we didn't know exactly how.
Hmm.
And then when you go into color timing.
Yeah.
More things start to change, and you start to give different hues to different things and change things around. So it's a multi-step process to arrive at that. The interesting thing is that it's very different than what I wrote in the script. If you had
Mm.
read the script, the all the visual effects and the different kinds of moods and things were described in a way. And I always said to people, you have to understand something. Just because it's in the script doesn't mean that's how it has to be in the movie. I wrote it and I can change it, and I'll change it like that. I said, what I described in the script just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't go with the mood. It's over the top. It's too much. They're going, yeah, but you said that we were going to do this, and that. And I said, yeah, but we're not going to do that anymore. Now we're going to do this. And
Yeah.
it's much simpler, it's cleaner, and it's more elegant, and it's cheaper.
Oh man, Howard giving us all the scoops here, and honestly, I hopefully I get the opportunity to talk to your cast, but I'm sure they're gonna have nothing nice but to say because as many directors and even writers that I've spoke to have this selfless approach, I think provides a good like work set culture. Folks gonna want to work for you because they're gonna understand that they are value in their thoughts or their perception of how the story should go or embodying their characters because you're willing
Absolutely.
to adapt and make the changes. But yeah, on the other end that there's folks that's like, nope. I'm the genius. This is my work. It's going to be this, and that's what it is. And then it bombs, and well, then they'll learn the hard way, right?
I have to say there have been some great directors who do work that way, and that's their reputation. It just doesn't happen to be how I've ever done it or ever would do it.
Yeah,
Uh, but I have to say, whatever work, the object is to get from A to Z and finish it, and whatever you have to do to
yeah.
make that happen is what you have to do.
Understood. Yep, yep. And listen, brother, they're good directors. They make a lot of money. The cast itself is another story about their time on set and what that culture was like, which we know that's really what's important for good work is making sure that the cast is taken care of, you know?
One of the greatest compliments I ever got was from my editor, Rudolph Bautendijk. And he was on the set the whole time. He was cutting scenes while we were shooting. Every time we'd
Yeah.
finish shooting, he'd start cutting a little bit. And he said to me, Howard, there's two kinds of directors. There's the Nazi and there's the cheerleader. He said, You're a cheerleader. I said, Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I like that.
Getting into the specifics now, Alexander, Kaylee, Kayyoung, as Laurel, Sarah, and Peter. This trio right here is, as I said, they really make this film work. I want to know for you because at some point, when you really start to see your golden egg come to life here, just talk about any special moments in the filming process with them, and then at what point did you almost sort of pinch yourself that like this is happening and it's moving to the way you want it to be?
Well, that would be when we all got together for the very first time and everybody met for the
Hmm.
first time in person because Alexander flew in from Vancouver and
Hmm.
Kayun was in New York and she came to LA.
Hmm.
Kaylee was already here, but when we had the first table read here at my house in the backyard
Hmm.
was the first time they ever met and the first
Hmm.
time that we read the script out loud. And then at that time, I had that moment that you just spoke of because I saw it not on its feet. We were all
Yeah.
sitting down, but I saw everybody bring it together and the interaction between each everybody, and I knew, okay, this works. I've got this. I'm going to
Yeah.
tweak it a little bit here. I'm going to change a little bit here. I got to talk to one of them about this and bring that up a little bit. Maybe take that down a little bit. Maybe talk a little bit about more about the motivation of that particular scene. But whatever it was, I knew during that reading that we had something going and it was going to be good. So I
Yeah.
felt very, very confident and very good after that.
Amazing. Talk a little bit about the artistic contributions. Obviously, because there's a photographer, so there's obviously photos being taken. They're actually great photos, and then even in your third act, you actually have a art gallery
Yes.
occurring, which is obviously art on display there. So yeah, talk about the artistic contributions to this film.
Well, that those photographs were by a guy named Sasha Dillon Bell, and he is a fantastic photographer. And I was really pleased to be able to use his photographs as Peter's photographs.
Yeah,
And he was also our set photographer. He did all the photography of while we were shooting. So he's a great artist,
yeah,
fantastic artist, and Maximilian Schmigi, our DP, he's an artist also. The
nice.
old expression, painting with light. Uh, he is a painter with light.
Yeah,
And my editor, also an artist, and our set designer and costumes and hair,
yeah,
everybody brought something to the table. And remembering, by the way, this is a very labor of love, low budget film made by
yeah,
professionals, but on a difficult budget.
yeah.
And because everybody was so good and so professional, we had only a 16-day shoot and we
Mm,
shot it in 15 days and never
nice.
went overtime one day. Never went overtime because everybody was there on the
Yeah,
spot doing their job with happiness
yeah,
and conviviality.
yeah.
We had a great time, a great time.
Amazing.
So,
I love a good success story like that
yeah.
because we know one extra day you can blow that budget, and man, does the pockets hurt, don't
Yes, I
they?
can. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, so it was extraordinary. We actually
Yeah.
came in under budget.
Yeah, I love
That's
that.
that never happens.
Right. All
And
right, so
and by the way, I'll take credit for that, but along with my co-producer Julia Verdon, who is a fantastic independent film producer. She's produced over 40 independent
nice,
features and
nice.
even directed a couple. So that was a pleasure working with her because we're old friends, and it was the first time we had a chance to actually make a film together.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing. Really, thank you so much for your time talking about all of this. I really appreciate getting the
my
behind the
pleasure.
scenes feels and vibes. And although I got one other question, but I just want to preference again before I get into it because this is a little specific. Because I want to make sure that folks do understand that you need to check out Double Exposure. It's going to be available video on demand, cable satellite platforms, as well as DVD February 18th. Um, Talking about the third act here. Now, we do very much understands Peter's journey, the sense of guilt. And again, I'm still not giving everything away, but the sense of guilt with Sarah, and as he tries to move forward in life with Laura. But what I truly want to understand here is with Laura, she also struggles with Sarah in a way. And then
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we see they're having sort of conversations there, which is kind of like, whoa, this is becoming multi-layered. Which by the way, Howard, like listen, in all due respect, at a point of this, I started saying, like, damn, I wish this was like a TV series. Cause like I really want to spend a lot more time with some of these characters. Like I can take a
Nice.
2 hour with just Laura alone in her journey to understand everything. But that again, to you and your team, y'all crammed in a lot in a feature film that really does give you that appreciation for
Yeah.
each of these characters. But I really want to know from you, what does Sarah represent in Laura's life? Why does Sarah sort of and you know, again, to not give anything away, but why does Laura intervene with Sarah, and what does that sort of like what is that trying to portray in terms of what's happening?
I guess she represents the main obstacle between herself and being completely and totally with Peter. She's Peter's obstacle, and so
Mm-hmm.
therefore she becomes Laura's obstacle. Uh, Peter can't get over it. He
Mm-hmm.
can't get over the guilt that he feels.
Mm-hmm. All right now. Well, Howard, thank you so much for your time today. I really look forward to more of your work, man. This is
Thank
one of
you.
my first experiences with your with your work. And I'm such a fan. I really enjoyed
Good.
this. And as I
Great.
said, I was stuck here saying, like, damn you, Howard, make this a series. I want to spend some more time with these characters. But
Thank
in
you.
fact, I want to spend more time with you on your work. So I'll be looking forward to
Absolutely.
seeing what you do next. Since you came under budget, so I mean, obviously you got more money to spend and play around with, right?
Take a look at my last film, Jake Squared,
I will.
which is available all over the place too. And that's a pretty odd film as well.
I will. I am writing that in my notes right now. Make sure I hold my side of the bargain there. I absolutely will. Howard, thank you so much for your time and congratulations with this film.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Great meeting you.
Same, buddy.
Ridiculous.